redundant introduction, so it's straight to move on. So a quick snapshot of who we are. So we started as a single-member electrical engineering firm back in 2001 in California. We both in California. Then we moved to MEP engineering, including photovoltaic and low power. And from there, we structured our brand to TechnoStruct and TechnoStruct engineering because TechnoStruct being more into digital construction and TechnoStruct engineering being TechnoStruct engineering. And then in 2016, we opened our offices in India and found we couldn't find the right people. The challenge was we would get very good engineers and architects, but the technology part we couldn't get. Or we get very good software, people who can manage Revit and all of the software, but the engineering and architectural understanding or how a building is constructed would not be present. So getting a combination of both was sort of difficult back in the day. So we opened our own training academy in Hyderabad, and just so that we could hire people. And from there, in 2019, we opened our offices in Mexico, and then we started another business in seismic engineering, and we started with newly in construction management, and we have just this week we got our certification from ACC, American Council for Civil Engineering. So we can officially run the courses and certify in USA for construction management. So that's a big step. And we've recently also been awarded the top 100 innovative engineering firms in the US, so that's engineers. So moving on, so this is the agenda. We will talk briefly about construction management, digital part of the construction management spectrum, and how that can impact the overall career scenario in India. So I leave it to Dr. Thomas from here.
I have put certain statistics over here. This is nothing new, just to make you in tune with, to understand how big this industry is, what are the potential for this industry in the job prospect. Indian construction industry is worth 600 billion US dollar as of now, last year's estimate, and which is going to grow, or rather growing at a rate of 6% per annum. Okay, and likely to touch 1 trillion US dollar transaction by the end of 2025. That big the construction. 35 million people are working in the Indian construction sector. Second to agriculture. Of course, agriculture is having more than 125 million people working in the sector. But construction industry is having almost 35 million people directly involved in construction. And if you talk about the contribution to the GDP of this construction sector, it is almost 11 to 11.5% of the GDP of Indian GDP is coming exclusive to construction industry. If you look at the construction sector as a whole, you will find that there are two major components in the construction sector. One is real estate is the massive rate at which the real estate is going to grow. Why this is happening? Because there is a rapid urbanization happening in the country. People from the rural area shifting to the urban sector in search of employment and other job opportunities. As of now, the 35% of the Indian population is now revolving around urban area for one or other activities. But it is predicted that by 2050, this population, urban population, is going to cross 50% of the Indian population. So if it is going to cross to 50%, you can just imagine what kind of infrastructure support is needed to cater all these people. 50% of the population means now we are already 130 or 135 crore. Okay, 2050 it will be 200 crore, and 100 crore people will be just living in the urban area. So there is a huge potential. Why I am telling? There is a huge potential for construction people in the coming years. And government is coming up with large number of new initiatives to support this industry or support this growth pattern. Let us look into some important, very important government initiatives. One is the National Infrastructure Pipeline. How many of you are aware of the National Infrastructure Pipeline? Actually, this was announced in 2019 by Government of India. 102 lakhs crore Indian rupees, or 150 billion US dollar project. Okay, and this project is envisaging to develop infrastructure in the country with state support and private support. The plan is something like this: 40% coming from the central government, another 40% coming from the state government, and 20% coming from the private sector. Okay, so actually this 150 billion US dollar projection is only up to 2025, but that is not going to happen. It will get slipped off, and further they will continue with that project. And if you need that much amount of money, you know, one of the biggest problem Indian infrastructure is facing is the scarcity of the resources, from where money will come. So they have initiated another project which is known as Asset Monetization Plan, known as National Asset Monetization Pipeline, where they are aiming for 6 lakh crore rupees. How they will get this 6 lakh crore? Actually, that money will be basically using for investing in the national infrastructure project. Government is having large amount of assets. Okay, so they will be selling of those assets, and whatever money they are getting out of this selling public asset will be transferred to national infrastructure pipeline. Another big project coming up is Sagarmala project. It is 82 billion US dollar project, basically aiming for development of all ports, major ports in the country and associated infrastructure. When we talk about port, it is not only port development, the linked infrastructure and then seashore development, all those things are also river, the sea protection, everything is included in that. So that project is 82 billion. It's a very big. And one I have missed out is Bharatmala project. Bharatmala project is part of that old National Highway Development project, which is also coming up for connecting various industrial corridors in the country. Smart city vision, you know, they are trying to develop 100 smart cities in the country. Each one is having an exposure of 100 crore, 1000 crore per city. Okay, then multi-modal connectivity project, 1.2 billion plan for integrated and seamless intermodal connectivity. Okay, this is also coming up in a big way. It's a very brief picture of the kind of investment government of India and the state governments are going to put in the construction sector. Okay, just to have an idea. So you know, if you want to realize all this infrastructure development, you need to have a robust construction industry set up in the country, which we don't have as of now. So what are the challenges for the construction industry in the country? If you look at the statistics, okay, if you go to Ministry of Program Implementation and Statistics, you will find the statistics of Indian construction sector there. You will find that 20 to 25% of Indian infrastructure projects are either getting into cost overrun or time overrun. Okay, this is one of the biggest challenge which we are facing. Another problem are basically legacy issues, labor shortage. When I say labor shortage, that means skilled labor shortage. That is one major issue. Low productivity, because when the labor is not skilled, when I say labor, doesn't mean that it is ground level labor. It's from right from top to bottom, whoever is working in the construction industry. If they are not adequately skilled, obviously the productivity is going to be very low. You see, in construction industry, productivity is low, then margin is also low. Any idea what is the approximate IRR of an Indian construction company? Let us take L&T. What is the IRR? You know, average internal rate of return. Internal rate of return. If you do work for 1,000 crore, how much money you are expecting as margin? Margin means simple profit. You take it in a very layman's language. What is the percentage of profit one can expect from a construction industry, or one is getting from a construction industry? Yeah? Less than 7%. Okay, less than 6 to 7%. Whereas in case of an IT company and all, you will get 20, 25, 50, 40% margin. Okay, so if you want to work with 6% margin, it's a real challenge. You need to improve your productivity. Okay, unless you do optimization at that point, cost level, you will not increase the margin. Okay, so this is a very big issue. Low productivity associated with low margin in Indian construction sector. That's why many companies are not opening up in the sector. Though we have a huge demand for construction companies, because the margin is very less, people are not coming up to take up this as a business. Okay, not as a profession, this as a business. Okay. Then another challenge is standardization. You see, standardization, we are very poor in standardization. If somebody is specifying that this quality I want to achieve in our construction, because of the lack of standardization, we are not able to achieve. Okay, so that is one of the, because we don't have good standards for construction. Okay, unless you have a standard, how will you implement it? Okay, many of our codes are getting prepared now. Structural engineering codes are there, but in a very limited way. Okay, then slow adoption of technologies. Compared to developed countries, our construction industry is still working with a very primitive kind of technological adoption. Okay, so they are not into mechanization and technology adoption. So these are the challenges which we are generally facing. How can you overcome all these things? If you select a good procurement model, how many of you understand what is the meaning of procurement model? Anybody? Procurement model?
It is the layout they designed to procure as per their needs, like they specify what they require and they will compare it what is
It's a commercial term actually. Procurement mode means how do you procure an infrastructure? There are so many ways through which you can procure it. You can go for a PPP with a BOT model, design and build model, turnkey model. annuity model, hybrid annuity model. Okay, any model you can select. That means the methodology through which the infrastructure is brought into the system. Okay, how financing is done, how contractors are appointed, okay, how it is operated. That is in general known as the procurement. Okay, so if you have good procurement mechanism and good project management everybody knows how you manage the shop. Okay, project management, project life cycle management. When I say, most of the people having a confusion that project management is only during the construction period. No, project management, when I talk about project management, it is the life cycle management of a project. Right from conceptualization of the project to the end of the operation. Okay, it's the life cycle management of the project. If you give good attention to procurement methodology as well as the project management of the life cycle, right up to the asset management level, okay, you will be able to overcome some of the challenges which you are facing in the construction phase. Scope, which I have already told you. Scope is document. Life cycle management of project of people, workforce, production and processes. The main purpose of construction management is to control project timeline. Construction management is very limited scope. Okay, it is cost, time, quality and safety management of a construction process. That is different from the project management. Project management is the wider umbrella of construction management. When we talk about project management, it spans right from the initiation of the project to the last operation period of the project. Construction management is, once a contract is awarded to a contractor, okay, he will be taking over and then he will be doing the construction. Okay. So during that time, how do you to control the cost? How do you control the time? Which I already told you, 25% of the projects are overshooting the budgeted cost and the projected time. Okay. So construction management, time, cost, quality and safety. Okay, generally we say time, cost and time, but quality and safety are an integral part of management objectives. Okay. So they are so in short, the scope of project management is basically life cycle management. Next. I'll just give you an overall picture of the life cycle management, especially your civil engineering students, and many of you may be understanding the things in bits and pieces. I just thought of giving you the overall idea of the life cycle management of a project. See, the first stage is concept planning. Who is responsible for concept planning? If you want to construct a house, who is primarily thinking about the house? Client, or the person who is going to own the property is the first person to think. Many a times what happens, that client may not be capable of visualizing the concept in a full way. What he will do, he will have his consultants. Okay, so concept planning is primarily done by client or investor or promoter, and it is done through internal resources. Okay, internal resources means whatever resources he is having, he may, in few cases, it may happen that the client may not be even in a position to do the concept planning, he will give to a consultant. Okay, you go to an engineer and ask for a concept plan, not detailed plan, concept plan, that he may give you an idea. Or somebody at your home, your family members will discuss among each other and then prepare a concept plan. Okay, so basically an internal process. Second thing is, once a concept plan is ready, feasibility and appraisal. Feasibility means whether this project is feasible or not. You have not taken any detailed investigation of the project, but prima facie the project is feasible or not, and you have to get it appraised whether I should invest money for this project or not. So if you want to invest money, you should have an expected return from the project. Okay, all infrastructure projects, because the time frame of infrastructure project is in the tune of 20 years, 30 years, including the operation period, they will not settle with 6% return. Okay, a simple construction contractor like L&T may settle with 6 or 7% return, but an infrastructure project company will not settle with 6% or 7% return, because huge amount of risk exposure is there. 6% return plus risk premium plus profit, everything put together will come to the tune of 15 to 20%. So any infrastructure project, the expected IRR is 15 to 20%. Okay. If you are convinced, if the owner is convinced on the expected return from the project, then only he will go ahead with the project. Otherwise, that project will be scrapped at that level. So you will be doing level 2 is feasibility and appraisal. Okay, and feasibility and appraisal again a long process. You will have to do a lot of investigation. You may do market analysis, you may do technical analysis, you may do environmental impact assessment and related studies, and then you do financial analysis. Okay, these 4 major things are involved in the project feasibility and appraisal. Once the board is convinced that if I invest this much money, I get this much return, then only they will go ahead with the project. So second level is known as feasibility and appraisal. Third, once you have decided that I will go ahead with the project because it is finally appraised. Okay, appraised among the internal stakeholders, maybe the board members. Then you will hand it over to primarily an architect plus a structural engineer for planning and design. Okay, so they will be doing, client is responsible for planning and design. Since he is not having internal capabilities, he will hand over to a structural consultant, or maybe in olden days architectural firms were controlling the structural engineers also, because they will employ structural engineers and they will do both architectural functional planning as well as structural design. Okay, nowadays we have independent structural firms. Okay, architects will be different. Architects will be doing the functional, spatial planning and functional design and all. And then it will be handed over to structural consultants and they will be doing structural consultancy. You see, when I say structural consultancy, it is not limited to structural consultancy. Even MEP design, mechanical, electrical and plumbing design is also part of that. That is specialized consultant designs as part of the design process. Once that is there, planning and design is done, then comes the procurement process. Okay. Detailed planning is done, detailed design is done. Then you will be doing detailed costing. Once detailed costing is done, the costing is part of the procurement process. The project cost is fixed now. You need to have a procurement methodology. Okay. You have decided that I will go for a PPP model. Government of India is doing this infrastructure project, and they have decided that I will go for a hybrid annuity model kind of thing. For road construction and all, nowadays they do it. If that is there, then they have to do tendering. Tender documents are to be prepared. Once tender documents are ready, they will sell it. Contractors, the prospective bidders will purchase the tender document and they will study, understand the tender document, and they will not rely on the government documentation. They will do parallel study. Okay, entire costing they will do again because they have to bid for the project, and they have to optimize on the cost part so that the margin will be very high. So this procurement process procurement process, half of the work will be done by the client and half of the work will be done by the prospective bidder. Client will be preparing tender document, tender processing, acceptance of the bid, but the contractor or the bidder will be doing all parallel investigation, preparation of the bid document and submission of the bid. Once it is done, then there will be comparison of the bidders. Okay, that may be a 2-stage process or a 3-stage process, like pre-qualification bid and then going for the final bid. If it is a small work, then pre-qualification is awarded, direct price bid is given. Depend. I am not getting into all those intricacies. then a particular contractor is selected, then negotiation will happen with that contractor or the contract clauses, because primarily client is preparing a contract document and then given to the contractor. Contractor will read some of the clauses written in the contract conditions may not be acceptable to the contractor, so he will be negotiating on price as well as on the contract clauses. Finally, there is a mutual agreement between the client and the contractor, and then the contract is. Okay. So the whole process is known as procurement process, right from preparation of the tender document to signing of the agreement after due negotiation is known as the tendering process. Don't think that this will happen within 1 day or 2 days. In a big infrastructure project, the project procurement alone will take 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Many times what happens, they do everything. Finally, they are not able to find a prospective bidder. Okay, and they will cancel the entire process and re-tender it. Again, the whole process will continue. So it's a huge time-consuming process. Procurement process is conventionally the client was doing, especially PWD and CPWD, they are doing internal procurement process. But nowadays, they are simply facilitators, they don't do anything. They hand over the entire procurement process to project management consultants. Okay, so they will be doing on behalf of the client, all these things. Then, once tendering is done, procurement process is done, the contract is signed, everything is done. Then contractor will be doing, because a time frame is given to the contractor. As per the agreement, within a stipulated period you have to complete the project. Okay, within a particular course, within a particular time, within a prescribed quality and safety. So he will have detailed planning and scheduling, execution and monitoring and control of the project. This is basically the construction process. Okay? Just before the construction, he will do all primavera based construction planning and scheduling, and then once that is there agreed with everybody, then project will be executed. And during the execution of the project, you have to do the monitoring, because milestones are to be met, the cost control is to be taken care of, time control is to be taken care of, quality control is to be taken care of. So the whole project management control process will be happening. And either through a third party, the client will put his own control team, where he will be just coming and checking the milestone and other key things. Contractor will be having his own controlling team, because he doesn't want to face a situation where it is already getting out of the prescribed contractual obligations. Okay? So planning, scheduling, execution and monitoring is primarily the contractor's job, but the client is also equally involved in a different role. Okay. Then commissioning of the project. An infrastructure project, the life cycle may be 30 years. The initial concept planning, design, procurement and construction process will take 5 years. Remaining 25 years is operation period. Okay, so operation is very, very important in infrastructure project, unlike a typical construction project. So operation is done by an operation client, an operation contractor, supervised by the client. In some of the infrastructure project, operation is done by the client. For example, NHI project. If it is not a even if it is a toll road, operation may be done by a private operator, or NHI directly may be involved in operating the project. Okay, whatever model they are accepting, they can do it. Okay, so this is the typical life cycle of a road or infrastructure project. Okay, so civil engineers will have road right from the concept design to the operation and maintenance of the project. Okay, so large number of human resource human resources at various levels are required for the whole process. Okay, but we have a thinking that engineers are required only for design. Okay, it's not like that. If you need 10 structural engineers for a project, you need
30 construction engineers for the project. Okay, maybe 5 design engineers and 25 construction engineers. Why I am, and if you have a project of 100 crore, just example, just to visualize the thing. If you have a project of 100 crore, you bring the best structural engineer for design optimization, he will bring the cost to 95 crore. Okay, maybe adopting a very good structural system or material optimization or design optimization, but there is a limit for controlling the cost through design optimization. 95 crore. If the project management is not done properly, this 95 crore will shoot up to 140 or 150 crore. Okay, so client will always put more manpower into construction, control, okay, and operations. Okay, so human resource requirement in terms of civil engineers or skilled civil engineers will be more required in the procurement, construction and operation phase. Okay. Next. I just thought of you are all young civil engineers, okay, budding civil engineers. You will be going to face the new construction industry. Okay, conventional construction industry people started telling long back. But I thought of just highlighting few new trends which are happening in the construction management sector or infrastructure lifecycle management sector. One is increased analytics in the business. Okay, increased analytics. When I say analytics, you will be taking decisions based on quantitative data analysis. Okay, quantitative data analysis. You will not take intuitive decisions. All your decisions are based on crunching the data. Okay, so a good manager in the modern construction scenario, you will be doing analysis. Let us see what kind of analysis they are going to do. Constructability analysis. Constructability analysis means whether this project which you are envisaged, conceptual planning you are done, whether it is constructable. Constructable and feasible are different. You understand the difference between constructable and feasible? What is the difference between constructable and feasible? Just think. Constructable is more oriented towards engineering, okay, whether it is constructable or not. With our non-technology, with our non-skills, whether it is constructable or not. The ground may not be supporting us, okay, how will you construct it? Okay, that is constructability. Constructability analysis you have to do, okay, especially when you do structural design and all, constructability analysis is very important. Okay, feasibility is in terms of financial feasibility, technical feasibility, economic feasibility, financial feasibility. Okay, it's more of commercial thing. Okay, feasibility. Okay, it is feasible or not. Constructability is more of engineering point of view. So constructability analysis you have to do. Then you will be doing productivity analysis. You will be doing you see, before you do the posting, you have to do productivity analysis and see whether my productivity at current level of resource deployment is optimal or not. If it is not so, you have to increase the productivity so that your margin will grow. Okay, productivity analysis. Then contract analysis. What is contract analysis? What is the meaning of contract analysis? Contract analysis means, when a tender document is published by the client, contractors will go and purchase the tender document. Then tender document is having lot of conditions written. Okay, lot of geological investigation data will be available, structural design data will be available, then environmental impact data will be available. So many data will be available. Okay, and clauses will be there in the contract, payment clauses, extra payment clauses, time delay clauses, then risk issues, so many things. So a contractor, a prospective contractor who is going to bid the project will do the contract analysis, mean he will do the entire contract scan, and risk profiling of the contract will be done, and see who is taking what risk, what is the possibility for alternate mechanism to avoid this risk. All those things, contract conditions are to be analyzed before, because your cost is directly having an implication, or the contract is having a direct implication on the cost. Okay, so contract analysis is to be done. Okay, so unless you know how to read the contract, what are the clauses, okay, what provisions are made, all those things are to be meticulously read. If one line missed out may cause crores of rupees loss to the contractor. So the entire contracts to be digested, well understood, synthesized, and then converted into cost. Okay, so contract analysis is very important. Then delay and claim analysis. Delay and claim analysis is very tricky. You see, many a times what happen when a contract document is prepared, many things are missed out. Many things are directly not visible. Many clauses are omitted in the contract. And that time what will happen? The contractor will take advantage of it. Okay, even client may take advantage of it. So if because of that inherent problem in the contract document, if a delay is happening, then what will happen? The contractor will claim on that thing. Okay, so some of the prospective contractors, they have a separate claim, delay and claim department. They will be continuously analyzing the delay and claim part, where they will be getting huge amount of money through that claim process. Okay, if any fault from the client is happening, okay, they will document it. They will do all the analysis for putting a claim. So delay and claim analysis, then revenue analysis. I told you, all project feasibility study will look into the revenue analysis, internal rate of return. We generally call it that. Okay, so that revenue analysis will be done. Risk analysis is all known. Okay, infrastructure project construction risk, legal risk, then revenue risk, environmental risk, then country risk. Not many risks are there in infrastructure projects. So you have to do detailed risk analysis for the project. Risk analysis could be quantity. For example, you want to do the financial analysis for a project, infrastructure project. Just imagine in a mathematical form. Y is a function of fx. Okay? You have y is cost. Fx is 200 variables. Okay, maybe risk, this thing, that thing. So all are risk variables, which is having a direct impact on y. You see, y is not a single digit function. X is not a single digit function. X is a variable. X is a variable. 200 x variables interacting together, you get y function. Okay, so you may have to do a Monte Carlo simulation kind of thing to do the variability in the internal rate of return. You cannot calculate internal rate of return in the form of 16%. Okay, internal rate of return will be coming in the form of a probability distribution, because 200x functions, dependent variables, independent variables are probability function, not normal distribution. One may be skewed distribution, one may be in any distribution, because it's an unknown variable. You understand? So you may do a lot of calculation for financial analysis. Time also. If you are doing, how many of you have studied PERT concept? How many of you have studied PERT concept? You have studied PERT concept. How many of you have studied GERT concept? This is CPM. Do you know the difference between CPM, PERT and GERT? Do you know the difference? Anybody? You are all IIT students. You tell me, what is the difference between PERT, CPM, they are all scheduling mathematical tools. Okay, CPM is the simplest one. Probability of occurrence and time of occurrence is deterministic in nature. You know that this activity is going to occur and this much time it is going to take. Both highly deterministic scenario. Okay, or you have 20 activities, you are very sure that this is going to happen in the project. Okay, and you know that each activity are based on the resource deployment as well as based on the quantum of work you have to do. You know that how much time it is going to take. Both are deterministic in nature. What is PERT then? How do you differentiate between PERT? Occurrence is deterministic, time of completion is probabilistic. Okay, so you take T to 3 time estimate and you do this, but still the occurrence is deterministic. You know that this is going to happen, but you don't know how much time it will take. Okay, now think about a stochastic scenario where you don't know this activity is going to happen or not. That is probabilistic, and if it is happening, okay, how much time it will take? Again, probabilistic. It's a double probability concept. Okay, so that is GERT, graphical evaluation and review technique. It's a mathematical modeling you have to do. Sometimes for infrastructure project you may have to get into GERT or PERT, but stochastic model will give you a better picture because lot of risk variability is there in the system. See, everything is your revenue model is on a probabilistic nature. Everything is on a probabilistic thing. So finding out the output is also very, very difficult. Okay, so risk analysis, margin analysis, cost and project analysis, all these things are. Then another issue which is practice of late is compliance check, procurement and competitivity, benchmarking against leading practices and review and audit. This review and audits are all were not happening earlier in the project scenario. Now they have benchmarked everything. International FIDI contract is into the system. Most of the government, some government projects are on FIDI, especially World Bank supported and multilateral agency supported projects are all on FIDI system. Okay, so there are perfect compliance mechanism for all those things. This is a new trend which is coming up in a big way. Not in ordinary contract managers scenario, but in big projects it is like next. See, our discussion, today's discussion, major discussion is going around this point. Greater integration of technology in the construction phase for project design, procurement, vehicle and construction. How centrally manage construction process, bringing design, manufacturing, digital sourcing, construction together into one streamlined system. Digital handshake among stakeholders for integrity, transparency. I'll explain those things later on. And a shared trust through single verifiable source of truth. Single verifiable source of truth for design, technical, legal, commercial documentation, which is known as BIM platform. Actually, this BIM platform is a collaboration platform made available to architects, design engineers, MEP engineers, post engineers, scheduling experts, asset managers. Okay, data made by one or the process one person is doing, the architect who is doing the functional and spatial planning will be made available to the structural engineer. Okay, the structural engineer, while doing the structural engineering process, he found that some of the forms which created by the architect is not within the structural system framework. It will be pushed back to the architect. He will be doing it digitally on real-time basis. That will be coming back to the structural. Okay. Once structural engineering is done, then the structural engineering plus spatial planning, architect 2D, 3D model will be passed on to MEP engineers. MEP engineers will be doing all mechanical, electrical, plumbing system, and their design will be done based on the architectural and structural design. and that will be put on the system. Okay. Now a coordination manager, BIM coordination manager will be overlapping all these things for conflict management. You know that the MEP system which is developed by an MEP engineer, when you look at it, you will find that one pipe will be passing through a column. Okay, so structural compatibility will not be there with the MEP. So you have to do the conflict management, space conflict as well as structural component conflict with MEP. This will be done at level 3. It's done at level 2 or level 3. This conflict management. Level 2. So that will be done. So these three are settled to a great extent. Then what will happen? It will goes to a time manager. Okay, time manager, suppose a time is given for the project. 1 year time is there. But based on the spatial planning given by the architect and structural design by the structural engineer and MEP design by the MEP, he will find that time management may not be used. Okay, so it will put back to those people and they will be doing design alteration so that it will be within the framework of the stipulated time. Okay, that is one model. Okay, 4D BIM model. 3D up to MEP, architectural, structural, and MEP. 3D. Then 4D is time. Okay. Then 5D. 5D is cost is also brought into the system. Okay. Cost modeling. Once you do cost modeling, you will find that cost is overshooting the system. So you will go back to architect, or you will go back to the structural designer, or you will go back to the MEP designer to modify the entire system. You see, structural engineer may be asked to do a revision on the materials used, or he may be asked to do the revision of the structural system. Architect may be asked to do the spatial replanning of the spatial distribution of the building. Okay, or form may be asked to change. A lot of interactive process will be happening. So then 5D is over. Then 6D is energy optimization. See, energy optimization. Beauty of the thing is that everything is made available on a single platform, verifiable. Okay, one single truth, verifiable single truth on a platform. All stakeholders are means legally assigned stakeholders are permitted to view it and then do necessary changes. Okay. Then 6D is energy coordination, energy optimization. If you found that the energy consumption is very high, again you will go back and then do it. Okay. Then 7D is asset management. Asset management, what kind of you see all these documents are there. Planning time document is there, cost document is there. Time means what? Your primavera kind of thing. Okay. Cost is basically primavera linked to the cost models. Okay. You will do optimization, crashing. You must have studied. Okay. Time cost optimization. All those things can be done. Then 7D is asset management. In today's context, what happened? The contractor will construct and he will go away. After a few years, if you want to change the electrification in the system, you will look for the drawing, you will not get what kind of layout, electrical layout was there. Even if it is there, it is not the updated one or the latest one. The one which you use for passing the tender will be made available to you, which is of no use. So now, the entire planning and designing and construction documents are available on that platform. Okay. Now the asset management is basically happening during the operation period. Okay, you want to change the lift. Okay, the entire lift specification from which company you have taken, what is the annual maintenance contract, what is the dimension of the lift room, everything is available in the system because you have procured through BIM. Okay, so the construction and design data is made available to the asset manager for lifelong operational management is possible in the BIM platform. Okay, so it's a very prospective platform. go to the advantages. I summarize these things. Next slide. A conflict resolution right from contractual planning to the execution. This part is clear to you? What is it? Conflict resolution. I told you architectural, structural, and MVP. Conflicts will be definitely there. Conflict not in personal conflict, but design conflict will be there. So conflict resolution is very easy and can be done on a real-time basis in the BIM. Expert from each domain and specialist area can integrate their components to the same model to automate clash identification and rectification. I have put it in another format. Whatever I said in the first slide, first sentence. Comprehensive what-if analysis integration is possible for optimization, project division, better decision making, more sustainable solution, cost and time saving. Sensitivity analysis. If cost is more, what to change in the architectural design, what to change in the structural design, what to change in the MVP design. Okay, so if I change, if I have decided to use bricks, in the cost component I found that some anomalies, I will switch it over to hollow blocks. Then immediately you will see what is the change, because your 3D model and 2D model is connected to the cost model. Okay, so everything will be automated and you can do any number of sensitivity analysis or what if analysis for the whole project. Okay, material change, time change, structural system change, spatial planning change, any change you can do what if analysis. Integrity, transparency and shared trust through single verifiable source of truth for all design, technical, legal and commercial information. You say during the construction period also, whatever project management operation you are doing is documented. Okay. Suppose if you are to remain a contractor on a particular issue, it will be automated and you will be getting a signal. You have to remain the contractor for this thing. Okay. Or you may have to, the contractor may have to remain certain issues to the some permissions are to be taken for extra work or maybe extension of time, whatever may be. So those things will be documented through BIM platform. Okay, so construction management coordination is also done through the BIM platform. The process of BIM support the creation of intelligent data, that is the most important thing. The process of BIM support the creation of intelligent data that can be used throughout the life cycle of the building infrastructure. Okay. Efficient project execution through connecting teams, data and purpose and which stage of projects. It's basically an automated construction life cycle management system. Okay, so Rohith will now talk to you more about the technology part of it. I am not an expert in the technology, so he will be in a position to talk much more about the technology involved in the BIM model. Okay, thank you.
So, we're going to see some awesome models.
Rohit, you want to add something before Rohit starts?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So let me give you a story about Nagpur Metro. Guys? Yeah? Thank you. So Nagpur Metro is, the government of India says this is the first and most successful BIM project or digital construction project in India with 194 crores of budget for BIM alone. So let me tell you a story. So I got involved with that project in 2016, sorry. AECOM being the design guys and then their management and also the BIM stakeholders. So we used to have 4 guys coming from UK who would be managing the digital part of the construction, and they would be paid around somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000 per hour. Just payment. There will be other costs involved, flights, hotels, this, that, whatever. $20,000 to $30,000 per hour. Okay. Very similar situation for Bangalore Airport. Again, Calcutta Metro. Not so much with the new Guwahati Airport. So all the big projects that we started back then in 2016, thanks to BTIO, and they're starting to say BIM says 20%. It does not. It does not say 20%. Okay. So we had engineers and architects coming from UK, sometimes US, and we were paying them $20,000, $30,000 a month. Then came the lockdowns, and we did not have these people. And Indian infrastructure companies and Indian government bodies, they were never really ready or willing to look at virtual meetings and virtually doing everything. So a lot of these projects came to a standstill or moved very, very slowly. Do you know why? Because in India, the real elite architects and engineers either do not stay in India or they do not do architecture, or not architecture, but engineers, civil engineers especially, also mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. Either they go abroad or they leave their core field and do not, there's no money, right? But people who are much inferior in terms of technology understanding, in terms of just natural caliber, earn $20,000 to $30,000 per month with projects in India, which we would have done at a much one-third of the cost, or we would have won for a day, guys like you. But if we have thought about, maybe there are other aspects of career development that are there which we are not aware of, right? Some of the professors have also been in the industry. Senior engineer at somewhere like AECOM, managing a project in an infrastructure project. With say 10 years of experience, will be earning not less than 80 lakh rupees, 90 lakh rupees, correct? Doing MBA after your engineering will not get you that in 10 years. So that's the problem with India. India has been doing, I was involved in the BIM part of it, or the digital part of it, since 2005 in India. Where we used to go to New York, and I remember telling them what do's and don'ts of BIM. Now they come here and ask us for $20,000 to help us understand how BIM is done. Okay, so that's the problem. That's a conundrum in India. Should we do projects with digital engineering? Who will do it? So during COVID, one of the bright spots, everything was weak, but one thing came out that we have to grow talent in India. Not me, that was the general consensus with a lot of developers, a lot of infrastructure management companies, a lot of even a lot of push from BTIO that we have to develop talent in India when it comes to, we are good at IT, we do not create IT. Yes? We are good at engineers, we do not innovate. Okay? Strangely. Okay? So we need to create the talent who can keep up with the real-time requirements that are there for digital engineering or digital construction in India. If we have to go to meet those numbers that Dr. Thomas showed, $1 trillion, and we're successful with our 20% escalation in cost and time for every project that we do. And that's where, and we've seen changes, there's been small push here and there, but it's just a lack of awareness a little bit, and a lot of media coverage where we don't get to know the kind of salaries or the kind of job opportunities that are there in India, which are not filled by people from India, but which could be filled by people from India. So, why I said all of this, I wanted why I talked about all of this, because before we show pretty pictures here, is to give you a bit of a relevance of, like, this is it's not only something fascinating that we can see, that we can experience, or it's something that a craftsman does somewhere over there. No, okay, gone are those days. It's something even if you go abroad to your MTech, want to join a big firm, okay, and stay in your core subject, that's something you have to do. We don't have an engineering college in the US who does not go into VDC. Let's throw the word BIM out of the picture. It's a very poor concept. Virtual design and construction. There aren't any. So everyone who does interns or interns with us in California and all, they know BIM because it's not something that is part of someone's wishes. It's how things are done. It's how things will happen. And the purview of it starts from concept. And that's what we show our EIRs. And it carries on till the life cycle of the building. Not at all, but actual life cycle where you have to destroy the building. Okay? In India there is a life cycle, but we hardly ever think about it. Okay? But in say for example a place like Florida, which is very strange, you have to break it down after 30 years, right? And construct a new. So digital construction is very much there because one common thing, I'm not going to elaborate too much on it, term that you will keep on hearing in the Western world, Singapore, for that matter, Singapore has very strong build standards. There's a term called COBE, which stands for Construction Operation Building Information Exchange. So it says from the day it's conceptualized till execution, all the information is in a single common data environment, where from finance to the hard hats in the field, or to the people who are operating the coffee machine after this period. All the data is in one source, which is the concept behind our smart cities. Okay? So that's the preamble I wanted to sort of say before we move into the pictures.
So I hope you all have very good idea about what BIM is. And am I audible at the back, guys? Okay, cool, thanks. So I'm hoping that you all have a basic idea about what building information modeling is and what is we call it as VDC in the US. Basically, virtual design and construction. Okay. The reason why we call it as VDC is because when we call it as BIM, it is actually limited to buildings, right? So that's the reason, we started using the terminology called as virtual design construction. So it is not only limited to buildings, it is used for infrastructure projects as well. So it's all about digital construction. So I'm just going to give you a basic idea about them. So what we do actually in projects is, so there is a construction, let's say this building, okay? This IIT building, let's assume this building is going to be constructed using BIM. Okay? This campus is going to be constructed using BIM. Okay? So before the actual construction, we construct the whole of the building in a virtual model. We create an architecture model, we create a structure model, we create an MEP model. Okay, we create the complete virtual model first. And we do all the analysis. We check what all problems can go wrong on site. What all problems can go wrong on field. We analyze that in our virtual model. We identify that prior construction. So when you're going for the construction, you have a completely coordinated model and you create shop drawings out of it. So you can use those drawings and you can take up to the field and you can do the execution of the project blindly. Okay, so the reason why we do that is, as there are many statistics for this by many cabinet officers. offices, UK Cabinet Office, by NITI Aayog, Planning Commission of India, all of them agree that when you're using virtual digital construction, you're going to save the total building cost. Okay, so let's understand, there is actually two types of construction cost. So when you're actually constructing this IIT building, right, there is what is building cost. So after constructing also, you need to maintain this building. Right, that is operational cost of a building. So when you are using digital construction, you are saving the building cost by 20%, and you are reducing the operational and maintenance cost of the building by 30%. Okay. So there are different levels in this. Level 0 BIM, level 1, level 2, and level 3. I hope you are all familiar with AutoCAD. I guess it's taught you in first year, second year, maybe level 3, right? So all your CAD drawings, 2D drawings, all of it comes under level 0 BIM. Level 1 BIM, it's a mixture of 2D and 3D. But the problem with level 1 BIM is it does not contain any intelligence. Which means, for example, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the software called as SketchUp. Architects generally do use it. Just consider AutoCAD. I hope you all have used 3D AutoCAD, right? So, how do you model a wall in 3D AutoCAD? You draw a rectangle and you extrude it, yeah, and you create a wall, right? So, when you select a particular wall in AutoCAD, it is not going to give you information about the wall. You will know the dimension, you can measure the dimension, but it will not tell you how many layers are present inside the wall. It will not tell you what the thermal properties of the wall. It will not give you the material properties of the wall. Right? So it is not an intelligent model. It is not giving you information. It can be used for visualization, but it doesn't give you enough information. Okay. So level 1 2D plans will be there. So level 2 models. Okay, all the stakeholders of a project. Okay, there will be architects for every project. There will be an architect, there will be a structural engineer, there will be a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, landscape architect. Right, all these stakeholders will be having their own intelligent 3D models. For example, so if I am selecting a wall in a BIM model, I will get to know all the properties related to that wall. So if I am selecting a wall, I will know all the thermal properties of it. I will know how many layers are present inside the wall, what is the insulation thickness. I will get to know all the properties of an object from the model. So all the stakeholders will be creating individual 3D models. And what we do is, we create a combined BIM model out of it. We combine all this model. So, it doesn't have to be like all the stakeholders should be using the same software also. No, it is not really needed. So there is a terminology called as interoperability, which means and structural engineers are using TechnoStruct. Okay, and then MEP engineers are using softwares like Rivet. Okay, Rivet MEP. So it doesn't matter which software you're going to use. We are going to combine all the information from different software, and it is called as Open BIM. Okay, and there are various Open BIM standards and formats available through which we can combine all the information from various stakeholders into a single model. We basically call it as federated BIM model for a project. And in that combined model, we do the analysis that I have explained before. We do the complete analysis of the building before it actually goes for construction. So this process is called as clash coordination. Coordination on site, and this clash coordination is basically virtual analysis of all the problems and issues that is going to happen on site. Okay, maybe so this construction the construction might be happening 6 months later, but you are identifying what all problems will happen if you follow the drawings given by the designer. Okay, if you have the design documents with you, the designers create design documents, and if you follow that and if you do the actual construction, what all problems will happen. Okay. So similar to 3D, the next dimension in BIM is time, fourth dimension in BIM. So I will give an example. So let's say a project is starting on mid-June of 2023, a project is starting. Okay. And if I am having a 4D BIM model with me right now, I can accurately say how much work will be completed in the first month of June. Okay, I can accurately estimate that even before the actual construction happens on site. How much work will be completed in the month of July? I can actually estimate that even before the construction actually happens on site. So similar to 4D, the next dimension in BIM is cost. So same example, the construction is going to start 6 months later. So fifth dimension time. So the same example. Let's say if the project is starting 6 months from now. Okay, and if I am having a 5D BIM model with me right now, I can accurately tell how much cost will be incurred in the month of June, how much cost will be incurred in the month of July, how much manpower cost, material cost. Okay, I can accurately estimate that even before the construction actually happens on site. So we have actually created a simulation for a project in California. I'm going to run the simulation video for you. This is actually a 5D simulation video. So as you can see here, as time progresses, you can see the changing rate here. The material cost, manpower cost, equipment cost, subcontractors cost, all the cost which is associated with the construction actually changes according to the time. And the simulation basically outlines the actual construction flow.
You see the quantity data from the design data, design drawing, they will identify the quantity. Quantity will be there. You will input the range. Rate will be there. They will place the construction activity on a time frame. Okay, and then divide the cost based on the time frame. Okay, suppose for a particular activity, 6 months time is there, and 600,000 rupees is associated cost of that particular activity. Then 6,000 and 6 months. Every month, how much? 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. For activity, 10,000. Likewise, every activity they will put the cost on a time frame. Okay. When you do the simulation, you give a particular date. Up to that particular date, They will calculate what all items are expected to be completed. They will sum it up, okay, right from foundation to that particular point, whatever is summed. Maybe painting only 20% is completed. So total painting cost 20% will be picked up. Okay, maybe masonry 80% completed. Okay, so masonry is 80% quantity is available to you. Cost, item cost is available to you. Multiplied by that cost will be. So what the simulation which you are seeing is basically simulating between quantity, cost and time. You understand? So you can do it in an Excel also. You don't need a BIM platform. If you have quantity, place against time with cost, you do a small macro in Excel, you will get this thing. You understood what I am telling you? Okay.
Level 3 of BIM is about cloud collaboration and 6P facility management and all of that. So cloud collaboration is actually been a revolution during the COVID time. So during the COVID time, I was working from my home, and all my engineers were working across the country, and my client office is in the US, and all my stakeholders are from various states of US. And we are all still able to work on a single project, on a single model, simultaneously from different geographical locations, only because of cloud collaboration. Okay. So 60 BIM is about sustainability, energy analysis, you basically give the energy factor to the building model. Then it's called as 60 BIM. So most important and the most exciting dimension in BIM is facility management. Okay. So I will just give you an example for this. For example, let's say, I hope you all have stayed in hotel rooms, right? Let's say if that hotel is constructed using BIM. Okay, they will have a facilities team sitting. Right, let's assume that your air conditioner is not working. Okay, what will you do? You will call up the reception and say that my air conditioner is not working. They will redirect that call to the facilities team. Okay, facilities team will have a complete asset data with them. They will just put your room number and they can, they have a BIM model with them. They can actually look into your room and they can select your air conditioner. And they will get to know all the information about your air conditioner. They will get to know who was the installer, what is the warranty date, when they should be doing the maintenance of it, who's the manufacturer. All these minute information are fed into a BIM model so that it can be utilized during the operation of a building. Okay, so that is facility management.
Now replace that building with metro rail.
Yeah, metro rail or.
And now think about signaling.
Airport.
It's basically asset management during the operation period, life cycle asset management. The entire mechanical, electrical equipment data will be there, the service managers details will be there, okay, the original cost, warranty period, everything will be available to you. As he said, air conditioner went wrong, you just go through the database, find out the party who installed it, the model, wiring details, okay, capacity, everything will be available at up to what time that warranty was there or not. All those things can be easily managed. But in a conventional system, this data will not be available to anybody. Is clear?
So is anybody from Mumbai? Heard of Hirunandani? So Surinder Hirunandani, I think 2011.
The real estate.
Yes, so Hirunandani is one of the biggest real estate companies in India. So they have a digital asset model of all their buildings, because most of their buildings are not outright sold, it's rental. And they have just a centralized facility management team. So CBRE, who does their facility management, has a centralized team where they control everything. But the reason why you got the entire asset management model is not for maintenance. It's funny, but it got it for rent management.
So when I say rent management, how much rent am I getting? How much cost am I putting into that, my total capital expenditure for that versus my wear and tear versus the amount of cost I'm incurring every month in regulations, this, that, plus maintenance, and then see what is and that. So all of that information he wants in a digital asset management for everything, so that it's a little bit of a paranoia. Nobody likes it, but still, it's because he wanted to see that if somebody comes and says that I have renewed the contract of that particular VRV unit, air conditioning unit on that building, was it even due? Was it even worth it? Why have we done it? So their team, which sits on one of the buildings in Mumbai, does just this, the asset management and review and quality control. And that's why they created the entire asset management portfolio through BIM, which is strange, but there can be so many different uses. And so it's infinite.
One small information to you. This area is so big. I was working as Dean of a UK college in Muscat for some time, where we had 4 years BTech degree in facilities management. Okay, so facility management itself is a subject. So it's basically covering the operational phase, but facility managers are the link between the architect, design engineers, and the operation team. Because if you give input to the structural designer and architect right at the construction stage, the facilities management will be much more easier and much more optimized. So you can bring down the cost if a facility manager is involved right at the planning and construction stage of the. Okay, so it's a specialized branch of civil engineering, facilities management.
There is one interesting story, okay? So this technology is called as scan to BIM, or else we call it as laser scanning, or else point cloud. Okay? Let's say if there is any existing building or any existing site condition. Okay, for example, I will give you an example. I hope you all know about Angkor Wat. It's the largest religious monument in the world. It's in Cambodia. Okay, they are converting that to a BIM model. Okay, so it's an existing structure, correct? So you will not have drawings of Angkor Wat. You will not get drawings for it, right? So what we do here is we use a laser scanning machine. Okay, we use that and we take it to the site. That laser scanner machine will have a range. Okay, and the laser scanner will emit laser lights, and all these laser dots will be carrying a coordinate information with it. Okay, and the output from this laser scanner is going to be a point cloud data, and we use that point cloud data to create a BIM model. So whenever there is any existing building or any existing site condition, okay, we use scan to BIM technology to quickly construct it and to quickly convert it to a BIM model.
It's very useful for structural rehabilitation of multi-story building. You may not have any structural drawing available with you. Okay, old buildings. If you put it under a scanner, the scanner will give you the drawing. The entire structural system drawing will be generated by the scanner, and you will be working further on that drawing.
The General Focus 3D Laser Scanner is the ideal portable scanning solution for building information modeling, better known as BIM. With a Focus 3D, you can quickly capture the surrounding area to document the complete life cycle of a building in a virtual 3D format. Scan data and project evaluation results can be shared with all construction partners such as architects, engineers, and clients by using the Faro web share server. The scanned data is saved on an SD card for portable upload to your workstation for detailed 3D measuring and modeling. The 3D format can be exported into various software solutions such as Revit, AutoCAD, BIM Microstation, Infra PDMS, and many other industry-leading software packages.
Now, this point cloud, sir, it's not only about voltage. That's a misconception. So what we do in a lot of our projects, especially in California, because when the form work is done, or when some of the structural work is done, so we do a quick scan with the laser scan. We don't use fabric. And then what happens, the beauty of it is because we have a team in India, so by the time we finished in California in the evening, our team in India starts. They do a quick, so they take the point cloud, they do not convert it into a Revit model or any BIM model. They put it in the background of the existing BIM model or design construction BIM model. They will check for any variances.
Non-compliances.
Variances, there is a toleration we put, depending on construction and general contractor, some tolerances. And then we quickly write up a report so that when the next day happens, the foreman gets the report. If there anything that needs to be changed, corrected, shifted, it's done. So it's not only about existing structures and monuments. This is about quickly doing a QC of a construction project. So rather than looking at it just from and relying on the BIM model, because we have to factor in human error. Okay, we can use machines. Even the code cutting is through machines, through robots, and but still there will be human errors. And to counter that, even we can use technology in this way, which is very cost efficient, very time efficient, does not hold up construction. And that's another issue.
When you superimpose that site data with your BIM plan, you will get rectified the minor errors here.
Automated through machine learning. So we have created our tool. So it is our own tool, and we don't do anything manual. Once we take the point cloud, it automatically generates, and we can flag out all the variances, give it the tolerance which we have to feed it. So it's not human anymore. We've created with the advent of machine learning, etc. And what we have done is we were working on something even cooler. We are now putting in predictive analysis models in a way to predict before we even scan, before we do, these are the type of things that probability might happen. So the field is enormous. It's not just BIM is not for, and by the way, it's not, when we say building information modeling, it's not about building, it's a word.
It's construction information.
It's a word. So you're building an information model. You're not doing nothing to do with buildings.
And this line I will just add in, we have one of our students, Gopi, we're working on this, right? He's actually using this point cloud to identify the distresses in payments.
Nice, that's good to know. Okay. Now I'm gonna walk you guys through our project about how actually we are gonna use the BIM project. Okay. So before the modeling and all of that, let's talk about pre-tendering stage of a project. Okay. So there are pre-tender documents. So ideally, if a project is going to be, if somebody is planning about a project or thinking about doing a project. So for example, client or an owner. Okay. So owner is thinking about doing a project or constructing a building or an infrastructure, whatever. So he might have some requirements. Right? The client or the owner will have requirements about why he wants to construct that building and why they need to use BIM for this project. Okay. So the employer basically creates floats a document which is called as EIR. I can open the EIR document. So this is how an EIR document will look like. So a client will float out a document similar to this, and all the contractors and general contractors will reply to this EIR with a BIM execution plan. And in this EIR document will have majorly 3 components. Client will state all the technical requirements, management requirements, and commercial requirements. For any project, there will be technical requirements, management requirements, and there will be commercial requirements. For the client, from the owner's perspective.
Expression of interest. Okay, it's very similar to expression of interest in a typical contracting system.
Okay, after EIR, okay, let's say the client has floated this EIR document. Okay, after EIR, general contractors or the principal architects for a project will approach it with a BIM execution plan. BIM execution plan is going to be the Bible for your project. So whenever there is a conflict of interest between stakeholders or between the process, you always go and refer the BIM execution plan. So this is a BIM execution plan that we have created for a project in California. So BIM execution plan, as I said, is the main document, and it is going to be a living document throughout the project. Okay, it is going to be improvised. As time passes for a project, the requirements may change and the technology may change as well. So we will document all of that back to the BIM execution plan document. So it's an ever-evolving living document for a project. Okay, so
It's basically the framework with which BIM project is executed to BIM platform. Okay, it's the frame rule book, we can say. Okay, every minute detail, how to do it, when to do it, who will do it, all those things will be there in that guideline. But it is not a
BIM execution plan.
BIM execution.
It's there in India, okay? Most of the projects in India have it, and all the stakeholders have to conquer and write and sign.
Client is the person who is preparing the basic framework of the BIM execution plan, and he will pass it on to the contractors and he will develop. So within the framework of that guideline only, the prospective contractors will prepare the
BIM execution.
BIM execution. Sometimes state may prepare a BIM execution plan framework and then give to the contractors. For example, NHI. Tomorrow, NHI is going to implement National Highway development through BIM platform. NHI will have a BIM execution plan for NHI projects, and that they already have.
Airport Authority of India has a very elaborate plan
So all major BIM projects, as I said, all major BIM projects will have a BIM execution plan, and that will be the basis of whenever there is a doubt or whenever there is a conflict of interest between stakeholders or clarification of scope, you always go back to the BIM execution plan to understand it. So once all these documentation procedures are done, okay, let's say the contract is awarded to the subcontractor, subs are selected, general contractors are selected, suppliers are selected. So the project is running actually. So now what will happen is the initial design stage will start. Okay, it starts with concept design. Client might have already, it is not a mandatory thing that BIM needs to be introduced before concept or after concept. It is very subjective to project. Okay, how BIM is going to be utilized in a project is very subjective from project to project. At times BIM can be introduced at a very early stage before the concept design stage also. Before the concept also, BIM can be introduced. But majorly, ideally in a scenario, once the concept designs are developed, then we actually introduce BIM to a project. Okay, now we have concept design models. Okay, and now the design consultants, architects, and all the design consultants will create their design models. Okay, and they will lay out initial designs. Okay, so BIM has not started yet. Okay, they are just doing the raw design. Okay, and you will get design documents like this. You will get architecture plan, you will get architecture layout, you will get structural layout, you will get complete MEP design. Okay, these are architectural layout for the same project. And this is called as, what we call this whole document is called as contract document. Okay, so this is the complete, whenever we are going to construct something, if a contractor is going to actually construct something, he has to make sure that they are following the design intent given in the contract document. That is important. The contractor can make variations, make changes according to the site requirement, according to the procurement and all of that, but it has to always follow the design intent given in the contract document. If it is not followed, the contractor has to state why it is not followed as per the design document given by the design consultant. Okay, so now initially the design and all of that is happening. Right? Once the design is settled, okay, so now you have contract documents with you. After that, we move to the construction, virtual construction. Okay, all the stakeholders. If I expand the selection sheet and see, this is a complete federated model or a combined model that you're seeing right now. It's the same project. It's a research facility, biomedical research facility in California. So if I can isolate the architectural model out of it, structural model out of it, electrical model out of it, okay, so it's a combined model of all the stakeholders. So let me just isolate one model for you. So you are just looking at the plumbing model for the project. Okay. So you have created the combined model now. Here we do the analysis or else clash detection. We identify what all problems will happen outside. In the virtual model we identify them. And we communicate all the issues that is happening through a cloud, coordination issue software called as BIM Track or Solidly, and there are softwares like Revis too for that, where we communicate issues, where stakeholders communicate that this issue is happening at a particular location. At a particular location, for example, I'm going to just, for example, if I'm highlighting an area, here there is an issue of its ceiling height. The ceiling height given at this area was incorrect, and that was the issue for this particular area. So you create those issues and you assign those issues to the right stakeholder. Okay, and not only assigning those issues, you assigning the issue based on what is the type of issue, whether it's a design issue, whether it's a trade coordination issue, whether it's a constructability issue. Okay, there are different types of issues in a construction field. Right, so you sort it based on the type of issue and you prioritize that issue. Whether it is a critical issue, if it's a critical issue, we discuss that issue in a coordination meeting. So for any BIM project, there will be weekly coordination meetings happen. And in all the weekly coordination meetings, we discuss all these tier 0, tier 1 critical issues. Okay? And then we assign that particular issue. Let's say, for example, there is an issue happening between plumbing, okay, sanitary pipe, okay, sanitary pipe and an electrical conduit. Okay, as you all know, sanitary pipe is, the water flows with gravity, right? So you cannot simply add an easy bend to it because it is going under gravity, it is having a slope, so you cannot easily add a bend to it. So if there is a conflict happening between an electrical conduit, right? Electrical conduit is a small pipe, right? So you can easily bend a electrical conduit, and it is really difficult to bend a gravity pipe, right? So you resolve that particular issue in the virtual model. So basically, what software does is, software identify all those issues, what all issues are happening. Software identifies it, and we assign those issues who can possibly resolve that particular issue. If there is an issue happening, who can possibly resolve it? And we assign it to that particular subcontractor, and he will resolve that issue before the next coordination meeting. Okay, so this is how we resolve all those issues in a project. So once all those issues are resolved for a particular LBS, okay, LBS is basically location breakdown structure. which basically means we divide the project, based on zones or levels. Okay, so once one particular zone is completely coordinated, okay, then we take that model and drawings for sign off. Okay, once the models are signed off, then we extract shop drawings from them for actual construction. Then actual construction will happen on site. Okay.
I was telling that this BIM execution plan is also to be signed off by all the
All the stakeholders, yes. So I'm going to show you something interesting for you guys. So these are some of the latest things that is happening, with first is 3D printing. And then drone usage. Drone has been widely used in the easy industry these days for construction. And then cloud collaboration, I have already explained, Internet of Things, and then augmented and virtual reality is really booming. And client and the customer, okay? Let's say if it's a residential building or a commercial space, customers always want to visualize it with options in it. Okay, for example, this area has a certain set of furniture arranged into it. Okay, so if you can give multiple options to it, adding different materials, adding different textures, different colors on the same model, and the customer can actually feel that. They can wear a VR goggle and they can walk inside the building and feel how is it going to look like. Okay, how is it going to look like if it's blue? How is it going to look like if it's red? Okay, the customer can virtually experience that before actually buying the product or buying the product. So, these are the applications of VR. I'm going to show you some interesting thing. This is an interesting thing. So, if you guys can scan the QR code of any of this, it will actually take you to a building model, rendered building model. You guys can pull out your phone and try to scan a QR code. It will actually take you to a model like this. So what I'm trying to showcase is that the whole of a building model is capsuled into a QR code. You can actually do that. Okay, so this is the power of visualization and digital construction. So I don't think I need to explain to you guys that this is going to be the future, right? You guys can see that. So this is one of our projects that I have worked. It's a corporate office campus. So I'm gonna say it's Amazon's office in Hyderabad. So the interesting thing about this particular project is we created the complete, rendering, everything with virtual reality and all of it, and we showed that to the client. The construction was also half done. For this particular area, the construction, this area, okay, the construction was also half done. And the client said, okay, so it's a VR model, right? So we will like to see that. Okay, and then client put on the VR goggles and when he saw this, he's like, no, I am not happy with the ceiling. I am not happy with the ceiling, I need it to be completely changed. Okay. So that is the power of visualization that you give to a customer. So this is some drawing. This is like imagine this is when you look at this is just a plain drawing, right? Plain drawing. But actually when you click on these cameras, it will actually show you how the building is going to look from that angle. I clicked on that camera, it can show me actually how my building will look from that particular angle. So this is more convincing and more easier for anybody to understand. If you want to construct something and if you have something like this, you will not have any confusion. If you have a drawing, imagine if you have a drawing. Okay, you have a drawing and you are executing it actually on site. And if you select some camera and it is actually going to show you how it is, how the furniture are going to be kept or how it is going to be installed on site. If you have that as a reference, imagine how easy it is for implementation and construction. So let's talk about your future or future of images. As you all know, all the future government projects in India, okay? So all the recent government projects like Nagpur Metro, Guwahati Airport, Bangalore Airport E3, that Bamboo Airport that people call these days, all these projects are completely constructed using BIM, that too with facility management and asset data. Okay? So, and in 2019, NITI Aayog, the Planning Commission, have made it mandate that all the future government projects that is going to happen in our country is going to happen through BIM only.
So, to clarify, it's not a public mandate, it's a mandate to all the government agencies. Okay? So, it's not a public signed parliamentary mandate.
India doesn't have a mandate as of now. A legal mandate is not there, but
Yeah.
some of the public sector organizations.
It is advice.
So it's basically you can't build a metro project in India if you're not using BIM to an asset management level. Even the software that we use are mentioned, like we have to use BIM and yeah.
Just one clarification, but I think this NHAI tenders,
They suggest.
they only suggest.
No,
This-
initial tenders will have BIM.
They mandate
ACI
it.
is not
But-
mandated to have BIM. So ACI.
You cannot legally mandate it.
So no, let me clarify. So this
Because
is
I know they use it as a normal model tool. They don't use the benefits of the
This
BIM.
is like Primavera.
They use it as a primavera thing. They don't use the benefits of BIM, but I think it is mandated in that tender.
So, NITI Aayog is mandating all NHAI, Metro Authority of India, that they have to use it to a certain level, to a certain degree. They are also part of the party.
You see, in the tender evaluation, you will get score.
Maybe. They use it as a 3D thing.
But NHAI, when it approaches tender, it mandates it.
Okay.
So, Government of India has not mandated BIM, but it has mandated BIM to all its departments, saying that you have to use BIM. And when they float tenders, they mandate BIM. So, you have, like for example, we are going to be using for a key-on extension. So, it is mandatory for all stakeholders. If you can't use third party to whatever, to a certain degree, you have to give back as an asset management data.
Exactly.
What they do with it, I don't know.
It's
What they
considered
need.
as a database. I mean, they do have it for most of the highways, expressways. I mean, and they are not using it.
This
They
same
have it.
institute
Maybe in future, if the database is available, they can use it for the future repair and maintenance.
they say they want to include it as part of include thinking that we are being part of the I is not happening. First time they have been able to do that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Apart from India, all other countries across the world, okay? For example, all the GCC countries. So, for example, in UAE, okay, in UAE, if you have to construct any building which is above 30 stories, it has to be mandatorily constructed constructed using BIM. So BIM is mandated, heavily in all the GCC countries. Similarly, in all the European Union countries, all the countries under European Union, if they have to construct any public sector building under European Union, it has to be mandatorily constructed using BIM. Same goes with US, Canada, China, Russia, and even Southeast Asian countries like Singapore, Malaysia, even Cambodia to an extent. Yeah, to a good extent actually. All these countries have made BIM mandatory for their projects. So if you imagine, if you consider, what I'm going to say to you guys is, BIM is not going to be an option for you in the next 5-10 years. It's going to be an inevitable factor for you. You will have to learn it somehow, whether you learn it in your college or whether you learn it in your work environment. It's going to be you will have to adapt to it because that's how the world is moving. Oh, Dexter. So we are actually partnered with Dexter Manager. I hope you have an idea about Dexter. Dexter is a very interesting software, highly advanced software, where you can do 3D BIM, 4D BIM, 5D BIM, all of it, and even facility management in a single software. So we are officially their educational partners with Dexter. So we offer training and we offer placements also with Dexter India. We are also a licensed educational partner of Dexter Euro. And these are some of the projects that currently we are working on. Apple headquarters, San Francisco Airport, Ford Research Innovation Center. These are some of the projects that we are working on. You can see Microsoft Silicon Valley campus here. So these are some of the projects. Some of them which I am also involved in. Microsoft Silicon Valley campus is one of the projects that I am also involved in. These are some of the projects that we are also involved in. So the training programs that we offer is not generally to teach you software. The whole idea of the programs that we offer is not about software at all. It's about learning how to implement them on project. Okay, it's about how you can work on a project. Okay, so when you're gonna learn with us, you will be actually working on projects like these during your internship. Apple headquarters, LA Stadium. Now I guess we can open the portal to Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, you would like to take that. Pass on the mic, please.
When we use a cloud-based security of the data, is it still available to the client or it will be available to the person who is setting up something?
Designated.
So actually we can basically control the access. So we create a common data environment for any project. So we create an environment where we store the models, documents, everything, where we can restrict as user access to client. So client will only be able to view the model. They will not be able to make changes to it. So you can give user rights, for various folder structures.
Something like an ERP system where you will give specific rights to specific people.
Yeah, it can be through a virtual machine, like we use for a lot of projects.
virtual machines, or if the machine is here in our physical domain. Or we can, and there are multiple sources where we say we are a common data environment. CD can be, the most widely used is Models, which is
Construction cloud.
construction cloud. So there are multiple such options, and there are other, like China has its own. And it's restricted rights. So even an Autodesk support manager will not have that.
So to add that we have it in our campus section project. Same ACC we are having it. And we made the CPWD to adopt it. We were assisting initially.
You are the client, so insist. You are the client for the.
No, but it is still very tough for us to convince the CPWD because they have their own procedure, work method and procedures. And they also raise the similar concern that because it is stored in the cloud and no data, especially the government assets should be somewhere else. But see, somehow we managed to persuade them and convince them. And then we also received, I'm sure that people may have seen that we have received an award for that initiative recently, which has been 3-4 months back by CIA.
Nice.
The fun part is that BMP headquarters is what very done by CPWD back in 2017 also used common data because BMP mandate. So, but even common data environment back in 2017 was very rudimentary.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any questions, students? Any question? Yeah. You have
How can a student get involved into BIM? Like how can one start? We have used AutoCAD, but like for reaching management tools, obviously we need more exposure. So how can we start developing such processes?
You see, basic 3D, 2D can be started after architecture planning and basic structural design is over. And that's what I'm telling. They will be studying slowly. First year, second year, third year, they will complete their preliminary design and architecture planning. After that, they can get introduced to level 2, 3D and 2D. But 4D, if they want to study, and 5D, if they want to study, they should complete basic construction management modules. Then only they can study. 6D, energy optimization, of course, you need to have good engineering background. And 7D is for asset management. Then final stage. 3D and 4D and 5D, I think definitely after third year. Which year will you teach construction management? 5th year or
Third year.
Third year. So after third year, one can get into 4D and 5D. And up to 3D, they can do after second year.
They have an elective. Very little amount. Where we don't introduce them, immerse them into the full depth. Because the course is decided. We just introduce them 4D and 5D.
You see, 4D and 5D, they can understand conceptually only when they have the fundamental knowledge of project management.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is no use. But 3D, 2D, up to MEP, you can study after second year.
Yeah, after second year, I will anyway also recommend.
But generally, it is misunderstood that BIM is only 2D, 3D drawing, which is not so.
And one more suggestion I would give is just learning the software. Learning software is good, but that wouldn't get you a job anywhere, and that wouldn't make you employable also. Not your fault. Any employer wouldn't want you just because you know the software.
And without thorough understanding about civil engineering, BIM is of no use. Okay? You will remain as a modeler at the elementary level. If you want to be a BIM manager, BIM coordinator, if you want to execute the project through BIM, you should have sound structural, analytical, architectural and construction knowledge. Then only you can do it. Otherwise, it will be simply like new latency programming or maybe some application-based software. So study well. Your curriculum you should do first. Okay. After that, or along with that, you can study.
Along with it, I would suggest from third year we can start learning something.
But as I said, it depends. So
And you are not
the
very
concept
bright
is
student. Learning is very easy for you people compared to other ordinary students.
yeah, true. And again, I gave you that example of $30,000 per month, right? So you'll not get that out of the IIT. Doesn't work. So that's an opportunity right here in the doorstep.
Any other questions? No questions, sir?
You should excel. No, not you. I am telling the students. They have to really an expert in that area.
Yeah, this is
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
You will when as a teacher, we will be teaching you theory, right? I was working in industry, then when I came back, I was thinking how to fix the engineering, whether it should be more towards the actual practice or towards the theory. And then finally, after thinking for I think a couple of years, I understood that as an academician, we should be still teaching the theory. Right? This is the opportunity where you really get into know things what is happening in the practice. So it will be, and you will also know which direction you have to move in your career. Right? We teach from environmental engineering to structural engineering to management to so.
But that background knowledge is very much necessary
very much
for
necessary.
implementing this.
This will give you an idea how do you want to plan your career. So we will have this kind of multiple talks. Ensure that all of you come and enjoy it and interact with them and network with them. And if you have any thank you.
So now I would like to call Pranav for the vote of thanks.
Okay, so I would like to thank Dr. A.V. Thomas, Mr. Roy Aniruddha, Mr. Rohith Harish, and Mr. Sujit Singh for sparing their valuable time and enlightening the students by sharing their knowledge. It was a pleasure having all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Our students got a good idea about the future of construction management in India. I would also like to thank all the teachers who attended this session. Also, lastly, I would like to thank all the students too for being such a great audience. I hope you all gained a lot of knowledge through this session and hope you will use it in your future. Thank you so much.
So as we have come to the end of the seminar, so we will be leaving this room with some piece of information, and our delegates, we want you to leave here with the piece of Kerala. So we would like to give you some memento. Please come to the stage. We can call. Yeah. I would like to call HOD sir.
Call.